So what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel here. Doing a little midday walk and talk because I just listened to something super duper interesting. Hope everyone is having a wonderful couple of weeks off here with this break in the schedule for Loretta's and everything. Good luck to everyone who's going to Loretta's, including all the Michigan Mafia that's down there. Hopefully everybody does well, but I've heard the weather doesn't look great, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, bump that thumbs up, that like button for us here, because that'll help us out. And let's jump into what we're going to talk about here. So for those of you who haven't listened to it yet, Gypsy Tales just dropped a new podcast on YouTube. I'm not sure if it's on their podcast feed yet. And Jace sits down with Eric Pennard, who drops a couple little nuggets in there, man. And that's why I have to listen to all of this stuff. And that's why I started this channel, is because I have time to listen to it and pass on some of these little tidbits to all of you. So the couple little tidbits that Eric drops in this, and for those of you who don't know who Eric Pennard is, he is heavily involved with AUS-X Open and the Paris Supercross race. He's kind of a foreign liaison, I believe is how he kind of describes himself, which basically means he's the go-between between the French and Australian people and the US riders that they get to come ride these one-off races. But anyway, none of the nuggets he drops have anything to do with that. So the first nugget he dropped that they were kind of talking about was doing an MXGP / MX Sports National, where basically you would take the top 20 in points for both 250s and 450s, and that would make up your 40-man gate, and it would be a points-paying race for both series. Kind of like how the East-West shootout round works, where East and West both get paid points, and it works the same way. You know, first gets 26 and so on down all the way to 20th or 21st, whatever it is. Now, we've been hearing some rumblings. We've been hearing some rumblings of this year. Of some serious conversations going on about possibly doing a crossover race like this. Number one of the big downfalls of the MXGP series is it's a world championship, but they don't have a round in the United States, okay? I don't even think they have a round in Canada. So sometimes they ride Mexico, they'll go to South America, but for the most part, they don't have even, I would even call it like a North American continent race, which is crazy. It's absolutely crazy that world championship, we have some of the best tracks, and they don't have a round here. Now that's because MX Sports and MXGP has been fighting. Now where this all gets kind of interesting, like I said, we've been hearing these little rumblings, these little rumors about this actually becoming a possibility. Now Justin has been pretty kind of on it. He says it's one of those things he's heard for a long time. I said, well, yes, we've always kind of heard about it, talked about it, but the rumblings we've heard have been much more substantial and coming from, I would call it, some more legitimate sources than what we've had in the past. And now, on this Gypsy Tales episode, you have Eric Pennard and Jace essentially talking about this, and Eric kind of dropping like, yeah, you know, it'd be really cool. And he said this multiple times, and this is where it really clicked for me. He said it would be really cool to do it at the end of August in Indiana. Now, we all know the last round of the Pro Motocross Series is at Ironman. Here's where this gets really spicy. Luongo, and I don't know if it was the father, David, or the son, I don't know if it was Giuseppe or David. One of the Luongos came to America during Indy Supercross week. And one of the things they were doing is they went to Ironman to look at Ironman, okay? Luongo wanted to see the track, etc. Now, we all thought, and the rumor mill was for a while, that 2025 was going to be Motocross the Nations at Ironman. Now, this to all of us was fucking crazy, because as everybody knows, Ironman, even when we're doing it in August, late August, is sketchy at best weather-wise for rain. We've seen so many races there that were mud races. So to do a race in, we'll call it late September or even October, would be absolutely crazy. It probably would be a mud fest, like guaranteed. And to be honest, that facility is just not that big to be able to accommodate the people and the riders and everything for MXON. However, if you were going to do a crossover race at the final round for the US series, that could be interesting. And that facility would accommodate that. And at the end of August there, it's actually usually, for at least the last several years since I've been going, very, very beautiful. So comment down below what you think. Like I said, spicy meatball. And Eric brought that up several times saying, oh, you know, Indiana into August would be really, really nice to have that there. So we might have got some insight there. I'll stamp it right now of that's where we're going to see the crossover race possibly next year. We'll see. Now the other little piece of juicy info he dropped while on this podcast here, it's probably one of the worst kept secrets here. We all know Jorge Prado's coming over next year to go full-time 450 here with Kawasaki, and it looks like he's switching from Thor to Fox, which is super interesting. Eric works very, very closely with the Fox guys, does some work for Fox there, and apparently from the info he dropped, we are going to see Jorge Prado in Fox. So he will be Fox rider. It'll be interesting to see if he's head to toe, because I'm pretty sure he wears like the Aero helmet right now. So I think he's Aero helmet, Thor gear, Alpine Star boots. So it'll be interesting to see if we go head to toe in Fox or not. I would assume probably, because because Fox would want him in that. But I'd be really surprised if it wasn't. So probably switching helmet, switching boots, switching gear. Super duper interesting. So we'll have a full-blown Fox rider on Kawasaki, which would make sense too, because we had AC in full-blown Fox there. And since AC's retired, I assume they'll now just move that budget right over to Prado. So like I said, a couple of little juicy meatballs here in these off weeks here. And as I get little juicy meatballs, or there's little news bits or anything popping up, we'll be bringing them to you. I'm also, since we have a couple of weeks off here, I'm going to be working on my street bike. I used to stunt ride, for anyone who doesn't know or hasn't gone back that far on the channel. Literally, if you go back to my oldest videos, it's all stunt riding stuff that I used to do. So my bike's been basically sitting for, I'm going to say, the better part of 2 years. I think I took it out once last year and it overheated within a mile. So I have all the parts sitting here. The bike has been sitting here. I am dying to listen to that thing run again. It makes all the cool noises, loud pops, bangs, and everything else in between. So I'm going to get that running, and I'm going to be putting that out on this channel here. If you don't like it, no big deal. If you do like it, sweet, that's awesome. But I need to build it. There's no sense in doing something without making some content about it. So we're going to do that. Everybody on this channel likes motorcycles. It may not be a dirt bike, but it's still a motorcycle. And we're not going full-blown street bikes. We're just doing one-offs here. So anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back if I find any more juicy meatballs in some podcasts this week. Have a good couple weeks off. Later.